Hi, my name is Bill Link, and this is my new favorite chair. All right, truth be told, this isn't even my chair. It belongs to a friend of mine, and I happened to see it when I was visiting his house one day. Now, what really caught my eye about this chair is that when I first saw it, it looked like this. So not only is it a nice piece of furniture for the patio or the deck, but it also folds up easily so you can store it or even take it with you for the ball game. So he let me borrow the chair so I could make some patterns and build a set for myself, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start with these curved pieces, and to do that, we'll need a bandsaw.
To ensure that the curved support pieces are consistent, start with a set of paper patterns. Tape the patterns together to create one full-size pattern and then trim off the excess paper. Now mount that full-size pattern to a piece of hardboard using spray adhesive. You'll cut this into a template that you can trace directly onto your actual workpieces. Now as you cut this template on your bandsaw, don't cut right on the line. Cut just outside of it. Then you'll be able to sand the template to its final shape, which will give you better results. To complete this notch on the curved back support, you'll need to use a jigsaw or a handsaw. Now you're ready to fine-tune the template by sanding right up to the lines on the paper pattern. And remember, the more precise you are in shaping these templates, the better your completed chair will be. Use the templates you just made to trace the shape of the curved supports onto a workpiece. Here again, as you cut these pieces on the bandsaw, cut close to the line, but leave a little space to allow for sanding to the final shape and to remove any saw marks or rough cuts. And just as with the template, you'll need to finish the notch with a jigsaw or a handsaw. Now complete the supports by sanding them to shape and removing any rough spots. The next step is to make the seat slats and the cross braces. Start by ripping each of these pieces to width on the table saw. Check the downloadable plan for the dimensions and note that the top slat, seat slats, and braces each have a unique width. Once you have all these pieces ripped to width, cut them all to the exact same length. Start by trimming one end of each piece just to create a nice smooth edge. Then slide the piece over and cut it to final length. The top slat, which is wider than all the other seat slats, needs a couple more details at this point. First, you need to lay out the location of the handhold, which is centered lengthwise in the slat. Then, drill an 1¼ inch diameter hole at each end of that layout. Now, draw lines connecting the top and bottom of the holes, and then cut along those lines using a jigsaw. Now, using dimensions from the plan, lay out the tapered edge of the slat. Use your bandsaw or jigsaw to make these cuts. Finish shaping the top slat by sanding the edges and the corners. The next step is to drill counterbores to accept the wood screws that you'll use to assemble the chair. Lay out the location of the counterbores carefully on one slat. Then use pieces of scrap clamped to the drill press table to position all the other slats and drill them identically. And while you're at the drill press, now is a good time to make the wood plugs that hide the screw heads after assembly. The final touch before you put your chair together is to soften all the sharp edges of the pieces using a roundover bit mounted in your router table. This will make the chair more comfortable and give it a more finished look.
All right, I've got all the parts of the chair made and I'm ready for assembly. I'm going to start with the seat, the lower section of the chair. So I've got the curved rails that I need and the seat slats. I've also got a couple pieces of scrap wood to help me keep everything aligned and spaced properly, and then a few clamps. So I'm going to get started with assembly.
The curved legs won't want to stand upright on their own, so use your spacers and clamps to hold everything in position while you assemble the chair. The spacers need to be 14.5 inches wide, the exact distance between the legs. Now you can start adding slats. Position the first slat carefully, making sure that it aligns with the end of the legs. Then drill a pilot hole through each counterbore and into the curved leg. Turn the slat over and apply a good bead of glue at each screw location. Finally, reposition the slat and secure it with exterior grade wood screws. Use a straight edge to align subsequent slats, space them about 1/2 inch apart, and then repeat the process of drill, glue, and screw until all the rest of the slats are attached. Now you can use the wood plugs you made earlier to fill the counterbores and hide the wood screws. Assembling the back is much the same, but this time the spacers need to be 16.25 inches wide. And you'll also start with the legs curved upward. That's because the first piece you need to attach is a cross brace that rests in the notches on the curved legs. So glue and screw that piece into place before turning the chair over to begin attaching the slats. When you flip the chair over, the next piece you need to attach is the second cross brace. Again, glue and screw this into position. Then you can begin adding the back slats using exactly the same steps that you used to attach the seat slats. Give the glue a little bit of time to dry, and then you can use a flush cut saw and trim the plugs flush with the face of the slats.
Well, here's the original, and here's mine. I think it's a pretty good likeness. All I have to do now is just a little bit more sanding, and I'll put a good waterproof finish on this, and we'll be ready for the back deck.